Do you know this man? Chances are you recognized my little reproduction of Michelangelo's statue of David, and chances are that you know something about the story upon which that is based, the story of David fighting the Philistine champion Goliath. Maybe you know the story about Joshua fighting the Battle of Jericho, or something about the biblical strongman Samson, with the long hair, who fights Philistines with a donkey jawbone. All of those stories come from the books of Joshua through Kings. Christians nowadays separate the books of Samuel and Kings within that group into two, so you get 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings. Those books are known in Hebrew tradition as the books of the former prophets, but nowadays many scholars refer to them by the term Deuteronomistic history. This label, Deuteronomistic history, was given to the books of Joshua through Kings, with Deuteronomy, as the name implies, as a kind of introduction, by a German scholar named Martin Noth in a book that he published back in 1943. Now, the reason that Noth gave these books the label Deuteronomistic history is because he realized that while they do tell a story about ancient Israel, about Israel's past from the point of view of an Israelite living sometime after the kingdom has collapsed, the kingdom of Judah, that is, in 586 BCE. That's the last event narrated in the book of 2nd Kings. And so what you have is somebody looking back on these. Now, Noth perceived Joshua through 2nd Kings to be a unity, based on earlier material perhaps, but in a present form, a unity telling a story of Israel's past from the perspective of somebody who is dealing with the collapse of the kingdom of Judah. That's what the history part of the label Deuteronomistic history implies. However, as you read through those books, you'll find that the author continually refers to other annalistic books, such as the Annals of the Kings of Israel, the Annals of the Kings of Judah, and a modern historian looking for solid day-to-day data about the ancient kingdoms of Israel and Judah would probably get better and more useful data for writing a modern-style history of Israel and Judah from those annals rather than from the stories that we have now. Because even though the Deuteronomistic history tells the story of Israel's past, it does so by filtering all of that through a theological lens. The books are not just about geopolitical realities, but they take those geopolitical events and they filter them through an evaluative process which springs out of the same mindset that produced the book of Deuteronomy. So to illustrate this, let's look at a statement in the book of Deuteronomy that sort of captures one of the core Deuteronomistic principles. It's in Deuteronomy chapter 11, verses 26 and following, and it reads as follows. See, I am setting before you today a blessing and a curse. The blessing if you obey the commandments of the Lord your God that I am commanding you today, and the curse if you do not obey the commandments of the Lord your God, but turn from the way that I am commanding you today, to follow other gods that you have not known. Now that passage from Deuteronomy chapter 11 verses 26 and following lays out pretty clearly what some people call retributive theology. The idea is that as long as the Israelites, and later the Judeans when it's appropriate to speak of them separately, as long as they are loyal to God, as defined by the laws in Deuteronomy, defined in pretty much detail elsewhere in the book, as long as they exhibit that loyalty, they can expect God to bless them. But if they betray God or begin to exhibit disloyalty, as defined by Deuteronomy, then they can expect to receive curses. So as you read the book of Joshua through the book of 2nd Kings, look for this pattern. Watch how the Israelites' loyalty to God is reflected in their material fortunes, the things that happen to them. When the kings are loyal, you can expect the kingdom to prosper. When the kings are disloyal to God, then you can expect the kingdom to falter. Read the story and see whether or not this pattern plays out.